This tutorial demonstrates the use of a mobile app called Field Maps made by ESRI or ESRI. The app allows data collection into GIS datasets from mobile devices like phones and tablets. The demonstration is being recorded on Android, and the app is available for download on Android from Google Play Store. You search for ESRI Field Maps. This is what it looks like when you open it. A previous tutorial covered how to add and edit data. This particular tutorial is going to focus on how to work offline. So the way data collection happens through this app is the GIS datasets live in maps in the cloud, in the internet, and is accessed through an ArcGIS online account. Typically, adding points means adding points into the dataset in the internet. But there are times where either there's poor connection or conditions are bad or you're in forest canopy, and it's not possible to get a direct connection to the internet, or your device just doesn't have a data plan or service. Under those circumstances, it is still possible to go ahead and work offline, and I'm about to demonstrate how that's done. So I am in my map gallery. I have logged in. I'm not going to show how to log in again. I've logged in using my credentials, my user ID and password. This is my map. I was just working on it, so it's showing up under the current section, but I should also be able to find it under My Maps. Again, My Maps is a section in the map gallery that's only visible to you if your ArcGIS Online ID is a creator or publisher. If the kind of account you have is a field worker or mobile worker account, then you will not be seeing the section called Maps. What you will be seeing is a section called Groups, and you have to look in the right group to find the map that has been shared with you. You can contact whoever your point person is to figure out what that is. My map is right in here in the DCR Damage Assessments folder. It's called Fieldwork Flood Damage. If I clicked on the map itself, it would take me into data editing mode, the online mode. So this data right now that I'm looking at is hosted in the cloud. It looks like there's 2 points that have already been added. I can click on the plus sign and add more points. I can discard. Here we go. I can go back to this area. I can hit on the plus sign and add a point. Take photographs. And then go through and fill out all the fields that need to be filled, and then finally hit the check mark on the top right and submit it. I'm going to X out of this right now. I don't want to actually add a point, but that's an illustration of what happens when you are in the online mode. But I'm going to prepare for offline mode, which means that when I'm collecting data, I will no longer need an internet, but I do need the internet to start off. I need an internet to log in, and I also need an internet to download the map that I will be working with when I am offline. There are 3 stages to offline data collection. This is stage 1 or step 1, which is downloading the map. Instead of clicking on the actual map name, I'm going to click on the 3 little stacked buttons called the overflow window, and then I'm going to click on add offline area. So to explain real quick how this works, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be carving out a small section of this map and saving it on my phone, so that when I'm out in the field where I do not have reception, I will no longer need to reach the internet where my data is stored. I will instead be collecting data on the map that I stored on my phone in step 1. So in step 2, when I add data, it isn't going into the cloud, it's going into the little area map that I have saved on my phone. And when I'm all done, in step 3, I have to go to where I can find Wi-Fi or data connection again, and then I do something called sync. which is I take all the edits that are saved on my phone and I sync it with the main database online. And at that point, if everything is successful, nobody even knows whether the data was collected online or offline. So step one is doing that step of cutting out the part of the map that you want to work on. This is the whole map. We can't cut the whole map out because it's really big. I won't have storage space. I'm pinching out to zoom in. The area that's within this rectangle is what's going to be saved on my phone. So I'm going to tap on the map and drag it until it is centered on the area that I want to save. One of the things that's important to set at this point is the level of detail. As you can see, it defaults to rooms, and if I click on rooms, you can see that rooms is actually the closest that you can get. It's the finest level of detail, and as you go down this list, it gets bigger and bigger. As it says on the top of the screen here, if you go for a larger scale, if you go to, say, the city level download, you'll be able to carve out a big chunk of map, but when you zoom in, you will not be able to see much detail on the ortho, on the aerial photography. So the recommended level of detail is rooms. So that's already selected. I don't have to change it. And then I move around. A note here, when I zoom in by pinching out, you'll notice the box stays the same size. And if I zoom in too far, well, the box actually is changing size right now, but basically by zooming out, it's not like I'm getting a larger area. It's just giving me a look at where my resource is so I can do a better job of moving the map around. I can see that it's right here where there's a cluster of points. So I'll zoom out again until I can see my map area, and I'm going to hold the map and I'm going to center it. And I'm going to zoom out just a little bit. There we go. That is roughly the area that I want to work in. I'm going to click on download area, and the process of downloading starts. The time that it takes to download the map depends on, of course, the area that you've defined. It depends on internet speed, and it may also depend on the level of charge in your device. If you have low charge on your device, this might take a really long time. So during a day of field work, anytime that your data doesn't want to submit or you're getting errors because you're timing out, there's a good chance that either your connection is bad or your charge is low on your device. So it's important to be charged up. As the little blue bar travels around the circle, it tells you how much of that map has already been downloaded, and there's a helpful text that says downloading. I'm just going to talk while this goes through. One of the things after this map downloads, when we click on it, it's going to behave exactly like an online map, which is what I demonstrated real quick at the beginning of this tutorial. To all intents and purposes, there's no difference, except when you zoom out. If you zoom out past the border of that rectangle that we used to cut out the map area, there's just going to be white because we didn't download that area. One of the examples I use to illustrate what this means, what this really means, is to think of when you're baking. And if you're making cookies out of dough that you've actually rolled out, and maybe you're making a Christmas cookie and it's in a shape of a Christmas tree. Well, the map that you saw before, that was the whole state of Massachusetts, was kind of like the cookie dough. It's the whole area that you have to work with. And that little rectangle was like the Christmas tree shaped cookie cutter. When we use that rectangle to cut a piece out of the map, that's the only piece that will be on the device. In the third step, when we sync up, it is recommended that you sync up often if you're doing a great deal of data collection, because if anything happens to your mobile device, if it gets hit by a bus or something, you've lost all your work. It looks like the download went through. It's got a little check mark. It's saying it's 235 megabytes, and it's telling the time that it just happened now. Half an hour later, it might say 30 minutes. An hour later, it might say 1 hour. And so now you have a choice of working either in the online map. I'm going to click on it. When I work on the online map, if I zoom out, I see the whole state. I'm going to head back. If I access the on-device map by clicking on the little tile, here I am. I'm going to zoom out, and there, the rest of Massachusetts is gone. This is the cookie. This is the Christmas tree shaped cookie. And I'm going to back up to show that right now it just looks really clean. And if you noticed, the order of the maps changed. Since I just opened the on-device map, that became the most current map. So I'm going to click on it again where it says Area 4. Actually, one of the things you can do is you can rename it from the little overflow area. I'm going to say Demo. So you can rename it. And if you would like, I think you're able to download multiple offline areas before you head out into the field. That way, if you know you're going to be going to 3 different locations where you know you're not going to get cell signal or data coverage, you can go ahead and download all of those at the beginning of the day, go collect data from driving from one place to the other place, and then sync at the end of the day. I recommend syncing after each area is done to minimize your risk of losing all your work. So I'm going to go ahead and go into the current map. I'm going to zoom in tighter. And at this point, this looks exactly like online data collection. I can click, I'm going to go ahead and add a point. Like the previous example, I'm going to add it on a building. Not exactly on the building, but I'm going to add it right over there. 3 parts to data collection. The first part is location, which I just added. I'm going to take a photograph. Oops, I clicked the wrong thing. I'm going to take a photograph. Let's pretend that's a picture of the resource. I'm going to scroll down, and I'm going to do all the right things. I'm just going to randomly fill things in. Remember, I have to expand this group. I have to fill in one or the other. This was a building, so I need to click on here. Oops, I have to click on flood damage assessments, pull it down, and let's see. 430, the building ID closest is 438 DCR 2107. 430, I'm going to start typing it out. 438 DCR, and I'm afraid I've forgotten what the next number is. Let's just say it's that one. 2107. It was, well, I'm just going to pretend that that was the right one. Collapse this group. The damage date, I'm going to say it was 2 days before. The asset type, I'm just going to say it was I'm going to say the parking lot of this building is damaged. The damage type, I'm going to say the signs of structural failure. The damage severity, it's minor. It's not, it's the second up. It's not nothing. Parking lot, let's pretend I typed in a meaningful comment. The operational status, it's partly operational, let's say. Estimated costs, just going to type in the number. Verification level, needs verification. I'm really not sure of that estimated cost. I'm going to say, please check estimated cost. Unsure. I am unsure. So whoever in the next step of this data collection project, whoever goes in to verify the points, hopefully they will confirm that I put in the right number, and if not, they'll update it. So I'm going to scroll up. I'm looking for any red text that tells me that I have skipped a field that I should not have skipped. Nope, looks like I've got them all. I have my location, I have my photo, I have my fields. I'm going to go ahead and, the update point is if you move the point. I really didn't have to click on that. But actually I am going to update it because yeah, perfect. It's actually in the parking lot. And then I click on the check mark on the top right. It's saying one attribute failed. I must have missed a field. Let's see which one it is. Aha, I missed intervention level. I'm going to say we need a contractor to do that. Let's try again. Looks like it went through. One thing I'd like to draw your attention to is on the top, right next to the layer, there's two curvy arrows. I forgot to draw attention before, but before I had added a point to my device, there was no little dot in the bottom right side. It was just two curvy arrows, and that's the sync button. The dot on the lower bottom side of it means that I have now collected something on my device that needs to be synced up to the cloud. If I zoom out, there used to only be 3 points before, and now there used to be 2 points before, now there's 3. The blue dot is just my GPS location. So I have two options at this point. I can back out, and when I back out, there's a little status thing that says one local edit. I can go in and I can hit the sync button and it'll sync, or from inside the map, I can just click on that curvy button right now. And it's asking me, do you want to sync? You can have auto sync also on. It is on by default and it's set to a certain time interval. You can change that, I believe, from your settings. If you back out, click on your profile picture in Field Map and go into your settings. So you may not want to have auto sync on if you are worried about phone charge, because it does consume battery. I'm going to turn it off for now, and I'm going to manually sync it. I'm going to sync it now. And when we do, you'll notice that little dot up there is going to disappear. There are no longer any edits. What's on my device now perfectly matches what's up on the cloud. And on the bottom it says one pending edit, which tells us it is not yet synced. It says sync succeeded, and if you look on top, those two curvy arrows are back to being just curvy arrows, no points. If I went back, my on-device map says there's a little sync symbol and it says no, meaning a sync just happened. And that's it. That's how you work offline. The only one thing to remember is, even if you may have downloaded your map the day before you head out, make sure that you stay logged in before you go to the place where you have no cell signal, because to access even your on-device map, you need to log in, and to log in, you need the internet. If I'm done with this map, I can free up some space on my phone by saying remove area. I can do that safely now because whatever edit was stored there is in the cloud. And if I back up, here we go. We are all set. And that is the end of this tutorial. Thank you.